Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing the Basement Battle, the monthly feature of off-meta decks versus Ecobaronen. As always, the 3 decks I am playing were voted on by my Patreon subscribers. That's a thing that happens every month. If you want to get involved with that, links to the Patreon are in the video description as always. The first deck that I'm playing is Riddler combo, which is really funny that the card name is Quantum Riddler, because Riddler combo used to be built around the card Riddler Smith, and it's crazy that 2 cards have been printed, both of which could be the core engine of this deck, and they both have Riddler in their name. Like, this deck was called Riddler combo years before Quantum Riddler was printed. I was kind of hoping that Riddlesmith and Quantum Riddler would both be in the deck, but now Artist Talent exists, and that's just a way better version of the same thing. What this deck's trying to do is shred through the whole deck and then kill the opponent somehow. We've got the classic Epic Storm shell of Gamble, Burning Wish, Lion's Eye Diamond, Echo of Eons. You can fling Echo of Eons around. That's a bunch of Wheel of Fortune effects that the deck has access to. There's a 5th one in Runehorn Hellkite, which costs more mana. It costs 6 to exile this from your graveyard. Each player discards their hand and draws 7, but it is uncounterable by normal means. It's an activated ability from the graveyard. It's not a spell. Artist Talent, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. That lets you turn your Lion's Eye Diamonds, Lotus Petals, Mox Opals, lets you churn away those extra lands, extra defense grids, and find more action as you're going. Quantum Riddler, the new addition to the deck. When this enters, draw a card. As long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, if you draw 1 or more cards, instead you draw that many cards plus 1. That means if you have 3 or fewer cards in your hand with an Artist Talent. Let's say I have 3 cards in my hand, one of them's Lotus Petal. I play Lotus Petal. Now I have 2 cards in my hand. Artist Talent discards before it draws. I discard one of those other 2 cards. Now I have 1 card in my hand when I draw a card for Artist Talent, then Quantum Riddler lets me draw an additional card. Turning Artist Talent into card advantage and not just card selection is insanely busted. And Quantum Riddler stacks. The second one means you draw 3. The third one means you draw 4. And it should not be difficult at all to combo off if every Lotus Petal, Rite of Flame, Chrome Mox, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Mox Oval I play draw me 2 to 4 cards. This is the first deck of the challenge. The second one, and also our second entry of Lion's Eye Diamond on the list this week, popular card, Dredge. This is Mafoosh Van Gogh's Fetchland Dredge build. The Fetchland mana base is there compared to like the City of Brass Gemstone Mine mana base that some Dredge decks play, because we're trying to make Anger into an important enabler in the deck. And you have to control a mountain for Anger to do his thing. What a weird little guy. The goal of this deck, as with any Dredge deck, is to put cards with the Dredge mechanic in your graveyard. That's Golgari Grave Troll, Stinkweed Imp, and Golgari Thug. And then if you would draw a card, you can replace that draw with putting 4, 5, or 6 cards into your graveyard, depending on what you're dredging. And then hopefully those cards in your graveyard do something. Things that fire out of the graveyard are Narcomoeba, Cabal Therapy, Poxwalkers, Dread Return, and Oxymogonus. This build does have Bridge from Below that comes in and out of Dredge decks in various formats, depending on what you're trying to do. But this deck is trying to very quickly kill the opponent. We've got the Lion's Eye Diamonds where, you could win on turn 1 with this deck, and it's not even that hard, depending on what kind of interaction your opponent has. But if you just play like Island, Lion's Eye Diamond, cast Breakthrough, in response crack Lion's Eye Diamond for red, then you discard any number of dredgers that are in your hand from the Lion's Eye Diamond, then Breakthrough resolves, you dredge 20 plus cards. One of them's Faithless Looting. You use your floating red, flashback Faithless Looting. Suddenly your deck's in the graveyard, your Narcomoeba's in play, Anger's there, and you have Bridge from Below. You cast Dread Return, get some zombies, Dread Return, the Oxymogonus, which flips the other half of your deck, and then you attack for lethal. Pretty exciting stuff. And my last deck, sorry for the awful white dashed borders around a bunch of these cards. That's how Magic Online indicates that you don't own the cards for the deck. And my rental account maxed out on the first 2 decks. It turns out Poxwalkers and Quantum Riddler together are close to $600. and my loan account's for 1,000. So I'm going to have to switch out those other 2 decks when I'm done playing them and then get this one. But we can tough it out for this deck tech. This is Bug Mole Pile. This is kind of a blue splash Maverick deck. It's a Green Sun Zenith core. We've got Uro, Leo, Grist, Halfling, Liberator, Ice-Still Explorer, a bunch of Wastelands, Badger Mole Cub. This thing can ramp you. It can also get cool tricks like animating a fetch land, then you fetch, then you get the land and you get the fetch land back. You can wasteland things twice. This list is actually pretty modest on how hard it's using Badger Mole Cub, certainly compared to something like Cradle Control that has a bunch of ways to sacrifice lands and creatures like White of the Reliquary, which can loop things like Bojuka Bog and stuff, but this isn't doing all that. This is ultimately a fair mid-range deck. You've got some removal, you've got some counter spells, you've got some cool threats, just 3 Barragoi in this main deck. But we also have Badger Mole Cub and Dislight from the Loam Land Denial Ice-Still Explorer package. This main deck does have 64 cards in it, which is not lost on me. But this comes from one of my Patreon subscribers who I know actually thinks about things they send in. Not everyone does. And I mean that politely and endearingly. Sometimes I just get random decks that are like, did you actually think about this? Or are these just cards you like? But this is from someone who I trust to at least have thought about it a little bit. I'm going to rock with the 64 cards. And after 2 matches of full sending it into oblivion, we will have one fun back and forth match with hopefully lots of decisions to make. Those are the 3 decks. I'm going to play Riddler first, then Dredge, then Bug Mole Pile. Let's see what Ecobaronen brought for us this week. I'm on the draw in round 1 with my Riddler deck. I have to mulligan this. It doesn't do anything. This one also doesn't do anything. This one does enough. I'm going to keep it. And I'm going to bottom Grape Shot. And Curse of Saga could be a backup plan. Like I could bottom Saga and go Chrome Mox, Artist Talent, Rite of Flame. Yeah, I think I just have to go full hog here. Just assume that everything's going to work out how I want. This hand also can play around Daze. I'm getting cooked by force no matter what happens. Uh-oh, we had the same idea. Turns out Mafush Van Gogh's work on Dredge has not been ignored by anyone. 2 Golgari Thugs and a Therapy, Lotus Petal. Oh, this is a different build, right? Yeah, I don't have petals in mine. Faithless Looting. Okay, there's a Thug there that can get the party going. 2 Narcomoebas, settle down. And a second Therapy! No! I'm quitting Magic. Alright, well. 1 Narcomoeba, 2 Therapies, or 2 Therapies with only 1 Narcomoeba are both fine, but here my opponent is with both Best of All Worlds. They had a Bridge from Below anyway. Alright, if I get my Lion's Eye Diamond stripped here, what do I need to do? I'm in trouble, regardless. Oh, that was such a good start. On the play, I think I just win this game, but that's the pod race we signed up for. All right, is he a sniper? Can he get one on the first Therapy? Dark Ritual. Good guess. I mean, I did mull to 5, and I have not interacted. Good guess that I am some sort of Storm deck. I'm going to lose my Lion's Eye Diamond on the second Therapy. I think that's the most important card in my hand. Right, here we go. Yep, Lion's Eye Diamond. Time to top deck Lion's Eye Diamond and win anyway. Versus Saga. Okay, well, I can play Artist Talent. That's not nothing. Chrome Mox. Exile Rite of Flame. Play Artist Talent. And we might still have a game, depending on if my opponent has a breakthrough or something truly busted left in that hand. A Dredge hit Ox of Agonis. Mostly not a lot going on over there. Alright, never mind. Okay, yeah, this is the Dredge nuts. That Lotus Petal sent my opponent over the edge. The other 2 Narcomoebas have shown up. Poxwalker is there. Can you kill me? I don't see Anger in the graveyard or a Mountain in play. You could certainly put Lethal into play, but I don't see myself dead yet. Okay, so what I have to do here is draw Lotus Petal, and then we can go off. Opponent's Hellbent has some threats on the board. Can certainly present lethal for next turn, but if I draw something that can loot away the Echo and also cast the Echo, we're in business. All right, here we go. Dread Return, targeting Golgari Grave Troll. Yep, just going to make a giant creature. Fun rules thing. Golgari Grave Troll counts itself when you Dread Return it. It enters with +1 counters on it equal to the number of creatures in your graveyard. And it does count itself because it's in the graveyard until it's in play. And if it's not in play yet, then it counts itself as it's calculating how many creatures are in your graveyard. Okay. Extremely Dead. Lotus Petal off the top. Lion's Eye Diamond off the top. Big money, no whammies. Oh my god. I threw a Let's Party in the chat. Lotus Petal off the top. Discard Echo of Eons. We got a Let's Go back. Okay. Do I want to play this land? Is there a better land? There are Ancient Tombs in my deck that I could draw if I need 2 mana later. I should check his graveyard because that's damn near his whole deck. I don't see Force of Wills. Sometimes Dredge supports them. Currently does not. The Echo of Eons is also graveyard hate, but it doesn't matter because the battlefield's already lethal. I think what I want to do here... Oh wait, I can loot when I play Echo, but that doesn't matter because I'm losing the hand anyway. Okay, do I play this land? That lets me keep Lotus Petal, but I think I want Lotus Petal in the deck because hitting that is pretty good. All right, I am going to play out Volk, and I am going to sack Lotus Petal to play the Echo. There's nothing to discard. All right, let's go. Well, King in the castle. All right, Lotus Petal, loot away Echo. Lotus Petal, loot away Lion's Eye Diamond. There's a lot of Burning Wishes now. Is my opponent dead yet? Storm is 4. I have access to... I can make it Storm 5, 6, 7. There is a Tendrils in my sideboard. I could also Quantum Rizzle and take another loop around the sun. I like that. Warp Quantum Riddler. I draw a card. It's a land. Lion's Eye Diamond. Loot away the land. All right, this is a lot of lands. All right, blue. And I'm going to float. I don't think I'm going to float. I'm just going to go. And I draw 8 cards off of this one because of Quantum Riddler. Okay, Gamble should keep the party going. Mox Opal is on. Discard land. Okay, 2 gambles is good. I can gamble for a Lion's Eye Diamond, and then the other gamble is free money. I'm going to Rite of Flame first. Don't need Defense Grid. Chrome Mox getting a little dicey here. Oh, Chrome Mox guarantees that I can Echo. All right, I'm going to gamble first anyway. I'm going to get Lion's Eye Diamond. Found a second Talent. LED to my hand, and the second gamble discarded. Disappointing, but okay. All right, Chrome Mox. Loot away. Krasla the Swarm is one who is Spider-Punk in real life. Another Riddler. I'm going to put stock up under this, and then I can cast Artist Talent, which will draw a bunch of cards. I think it's more important for me to have Lion's Eye Diamond than a second Riddler here. Chrome Mox can be worth mana. Whatever I cast here is going to draw a bunch of cards. Do I need a third talent? Or do I want more mana? The Chrome Mox might hit a colored source by the time we get there. All right, I'm going to discard the extra talent. That drew 2. Discard Ancient Tomb. That one only draws 1. Grape Shot. We're starting to put something together here. 13, opponent's at 19. Do I want to discard the Grape Shot? I think I do. I'm going to play Chrome Mox discarding Grape Shot. Defense Grid. I'll discard land. Lotus Petal. The Chrome Mox going to whiff, but that's okay. We're still playing. Lotus Petal. Loot away Grid. Loot away one of the LEDs. All right, yeah, I'm in the Burning Wish business. Opponent is super dead here. What I got to do from here is Rite of Flame, discard LED. I don't actually have to do any of that, but I'm gonna. right, Rite of Flame, discard LED. I have what I need now to win. Another Riddler. I don't want that. Oh, triple Burning Wish. Let's go. Okay, hold priority, Burning Wish. In response to all this shit, do I loot first? And I can do some loots. Because I'm going to crack LED. And I guess if I hit an echo on this, it's better if the loot is still happening. Okay, now I'm going to float black. Burning Wish. Use the ability. I'll get 10 drills of agony. That's the correct number of drills. Oh yeah! Overcoming the Dredge nut draw with a nut draw of my own. This is what this deck's meant to do, though. Like, if they didn't Cabal Therapy me, I would have just done all this on turn 1. Pew, 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 pew. This is where it reveals there's one Mind Break Trap in the main deck. Okay, sick. Got to do the thing. 4 Leyline of the Void in my sideboard are going to come in. And I don't think I need Defense Grid. I guess it's possible opponent will board in Mind Break Traps. I don't think... I mean, it could support Force of Will in the sideboard, I guess. What does that mean for me? I have the Spider Punk. But Spider Punk is worse than Defense Grid because Mind Break Trap doesn't counter anyway. I could have Haywire Might if opponent has their own ley lines, but Boomerang Basic answers ley lines while also being a combo option for me. Do I need this main deck Grape Shot at all, or can I rely on Burning Wish? And Burning Wish is bad against... If I don't have the main deck Grape Shot, I can't actually beat a Surgical Extraction, which I don't know how much I need to worry about anyway. I'm going to cut 2 stock ups. This game's going to be way too fast for that shit. And I don't need to go whole hog on Boomerang Basics. Yeah, I think I'm bringing in, obviously, all the Graveyard Hate, and then just some potential answers to some stuff my opponent might have. Let's go. I have the one of Defense Grid. I can pitch the Grape Shot, the main deck Grape Shot, and not really miss it. This is not Graveyard Hate, nor is it a fast win. I'm going to mulligan. Okay, Leyline of the Void is here, and other stuff. I'm going to keep this and bottom... I think it's Burning Wish. And having Echo in my hand means when Saga pops, I can go, and having Tomb plus Saga... Alright, yeah, bottom Burning Wish. Put in Leyline of the Void. Opponent also has one. Clever. But I can Saga game. He said nice one in the chat, and then just conceded. Apparently, he just has no outs to that. Well, alright, sometimes it's like that. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. It's Dredge time. Because we're alternating play draw, I get the play here. This one is not quite good enough. I could break through, discard my hand, and just pass and start slow dredging, but I don't think that's actually a good idea. I'm going to mulligan to a hand that does stuff. Wait, where does that Lotus Petal come from? Did I just black out? Okay, there were 2 Lotus Petals, so this might be exactly the same list. Well, kids, keep. This is what we're here for. I'm going to bottom Narcomoeba so it's still in my deck to dredge over. And do I want Volcanic Island? That's soft to Wasteland. Basic Island doesn't turn on Anger, though, which is what I'm doing here. It lines I Yeah, we don't talk to each other about what we're going to play before we're out here. No, this is all a surprise to everyone. All right, so I cast Breakthrough, holding priority. And then I crack LED for red in response. I have 1 Dredger. What's going on? Wow, this resolved. Dredge, Dredge, Dredge. How do we do? There's a Narcomoeba. Oh, I get another Dredge. It's draw 4. That's so fucked up. 4 is so many cards. All right. All right, so he's hiding the information about what he's playing. I don't know how to sideboard. I asked him if he took notes in the chat, because that's how you do it. Giving me 3 turns. Clown move. Okay, in the dark, how do I want to interact? I know that my opponent kept 7 and then didn't Force of Will me, which might mean that it's just not a Force of Will deck, or it might mean that kept a hand without Force, but it is actually a blue deck. Do I want to interact with permanence or hand in the dark? I think permanence. I think I just want these Into the Flood Maws in, and until I have more information, I'm just going to keep it light and play these Maws. Now the trick is sideboarding. Sometimes one Dread Return can win it. Sometimes Breakthrough is an all-in play you're not excited to make. I don't know how important the third Poxwalkers is to executing all your side plans. Poxwalker seems like a card I can shave one of. Gaze is my Ponder. Not cutting that. I'm not going to cut a land. I could see cutting a Lotus Petal, maybe. Lion's Eye Diamond's pretty essential. I want my discard. With 2 Dread Returns in, hitting a bridge is pretty important to get your system going. It's possible if the matchup is about grinding, like if this is a slow fair deck, Anger might not be the thing. It might be Bridges and Poxwalkers to get it done. It also means I don't have to worry about Wasteland, but I do have to worry about sweepers. All right, I think I'm going to shave Anger, and without Anger, Dread Return is worse. Now I kind of want the combo angle. Oh no, I'm panicking. I'm going to shave a Therapy and a Petal. I am sure that's not optimal, but I spent the whole 3 minutes I'm allotted thinking about it. And these decks are so tight, and it really shows the difference between a Mafouche Van Gogh, who plays this deck all the time and knows exactly all the pieces, versus a BoshNRoll who picks up Dredge once in a while for a basement challenge. Blue to Delta. Thoughtseize. Alright, I'm probably going to lose Lion's Eye Diamond here. That's clearly the best spell in my hand. You don't want to take Grave Troll. I guess if he has Surgical Extraction, he might take the Grave Troll, and then just take the rest of them. But that's not even really how you're supposed to play against Dredge. If you have a Surgical Extraction, it's rarely right to just jam it off on the first Dredger. You kind of want to wait for them to commit into a spot where you can clip like Narcomoeba in response to a big Dredge, which might eat their whole turn and deny an essential resource to the deck, or wait for Bridge from below to hit the graveyard, something like that. Okay, a Thoughtseize. I could Cabal Therapy my opponent. I could also Cabal Therapy myself, which would be great because it puts Grave Troll in the graveyard, but bad because I just read the Breakthrough and I have to reveal it, and then opponent would know about it. But I don't have ways to do anything else. So I am going to Therapy myself and name Grave Troll. Force of Negation, pitching Preordain. Okay. Preordain's a little suspicious. That's not a card that's usually in decks. Brainstorm. And I do like the use of Force of Negation here. Generally, when you're playing against Dredge as a blue deck, the correct way to interact is Force of Will literally anything, because at some point, spells are not what the game's about anymore. I think I'm going to play out Golgari Thug. Wait, but if this dies, it goes to the top. That doesn't even solve my problem. I'm going to break through and X equals 1, so I get to keep a card. This does play into Daze, but it sets me up the best for next turn. Okay, Faithless Looting's pretty exciting. I think I want to keep looting. Or no, I can't keep looting and Valk. That literally doesn't work. I'm going to keep Coliseum. Discard 7 cards. All right, there they go. And opponent has seen the Cephalid Coliseum in my hand, so does know what my hand is right now. I can activate Cephalid Coliseum. I have Threshold, but we're maybe about to find out what opponent's been digging towards this whole time. Is this just James Casal Grixis control? Wow. All right, 6/7 Barrowglyph. 6/7, 6/7. Okay, I made the joke. All right, extracting my trolls before I can do anything with them. I'm going to have to be on Thug duty. Thug it out. 1 card left in hand. I hope it's not another Surgical. I have to decide now if I want to Coliseum upkeep or Dredge first. I think I want to go upkeep, because this guarantees the Thug is in my graveyard for my draw step. Okay, here we go. All right, we did chain together the full squad. Discard the squad. I get 1 Narcomoeba for my troubles. Dredge Stinkweed Imp, because that's the biggest one. What's in here? Otherworldly Gaze, Looting. I did not hit any of the stuff I really wanted to, but I do have the second Coliseum for next turn. Okay. Yeah, Gaze costs 2 to flashback. I can get hit by Barrowgoyf, or I can chump block it. What am I worried about Barrowgoyf hitting? Fairy Macabre? I'm kind of over Fairy Macabre already. The Anger's in the graveyard, but I don't have a mountain, and the game is not going to end up in a spot where I have mountain. I'm done playing lands for this game. There's still 3 Narcomoebas in the deck. I'm likely to see most of my deck. All right, I'm gonna not give him the option to Goyf into more action. And my bridges trigger off of that. Tamiyo, completely irrel. All right, I have enough dredgers in the upkeep. I'm gonna fire Cephalic Coliseum now. Dredge, Imp, and Thug. Discard 3 Imps. Trigger 2 Narcomoebas. I do have to watch how many cards are in my deck, because that is a metric that's about to start mattering. Okay, I found a Cabal Therapy. I found 2 of them, actually. All right, Therapy U, sacking Narcomoeba. Triggers. What card am I worried about here? It's not Stifle. What a Surgical already. Lightning Bolt? Like, am I going to get jammed out here? I'll name Brainstorm so he can't change the cards in hand, but probably would have flipped Tamiyo already. I don't think Brainstorm is the card in hand. Flame of Anor. Okay. Kolagon's Command occurred to me briefly, but Flame of Anor makes sense as a 3-mana thing that wouldn't have made sense to play yet. Flame of Anor could have also decked me if I wasn't careful. All right, Therapy U, sacking Poxwalkers, because this just brings itself back. Now I'm in the free money zone. Flame of Anor. Bam, right in the Anor. And now I have to decide what's coming back from the graveyard with Dread Return. I have 2 of them. I can fire them both. Ox of Agonis, extremely dangerous. Discard your hand, draw 3 cards. I don't even want to do that. Grave Trolls are gone. Am I just going to bring back Anger and attack? This is not optional. Yeah, this Barrowgoyf might be good enough. Okay. I can target Thug, because mostly what I'm doing here is making zombies. Or I could target Stinkweed Imp, because that has fake Death Touch, and that dissuades Barrowgoyf from attacking. Alright. Get back Stinkweed Imp. Sacking all my real creatures. Many triggers happen. And then Stinkweed Imp is in play. And then I have the other Dread Return that can get the other Stinkweed Imp. I lose pretty hard to, like, Pyroclasm here, I guess. Okay, I'm going to attack for 2. So that's what can get through Tamiyo. I think this is enough to beat a 6-power lifelink creature. If Tamiyo can flip, like if Brainstorm flip dump makes my squad half as big, then math gets complicated. Oh, we got the GG. Cool. All right. A non-game and then grinding it out through some graveyard hate. That's what Dredge is trying to do. And we did it.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw for the final mystery round. I have Zenith that can ramp, Force of Will to keep me alive. I'll turn 2 Barrowgoyf situation. Definitely keeping. Bloodstained Mire. Suspicious. A Zenith is good here because it locks in my ability to play Witherbloom command even if I get Wastelanded. If opponent has Lightning Bolt and Wasteland, that's tougher. Undercity Sewers. Liked what he saw. Dangerous. Tamiyo. I can kill that with Witherbloom command. Kind of hope he does Brainstorm here. Busted. What a combo. I wonder if this is the disrespectful metagame of playing my own Eternal Weekend deck against me, since it's clearly off meta by this point. But a month ago, we were still figuring things out. I didn't have Bloodstained Mire in that deck, though, so probably not. But I do lean towards Verdant Catacombs when I need a mono black fetch land. Not for any real reason, just that is how it is. Hey, this Witherbloom command might not successfully do both modes, but I am going to mill myself and hope. We got there. Milled Badger Mole Cub and Outland Liberator. That's one of my Zenith package gone, but that's okay. I got more moles. Just covered in moles. I got this sister who's covered in moles. Does anyone else remember the early 2000s? Hey, this is my Eternal Weekend deck. I think if you would interact with Entomb on this stack, then you should interact with Brainstorm on this stack. The way the set up that, all of that stuff. Blind hit anyway. Do it. Do it. I did so much of that at Eternal Weekend, I'm not even going to lie. Dump to reanimate. Haha! The secret's out. Oh. I was going to play Ice Tail Explorer. Can I do two things? I think yes. Okay, so if I fetch... Yeah, we're in there. Badger Mole Cub. Got a Raging Cub. I'll get Underground Sea. I'll play Cub. Cub the untapped Sea. Tap for 4 mana. Play Ice Tail Explorer, which can play Misty Rainforest out of my graveyard. Could have played Forest from my hand too, but that's boring. Alright, that was sweet. Okay, I might still get Atraxid my face off at some point here. Opponent clearly has a Reanimate in hand already. Oh, here we go. Indulging the Taint. Did he have the monster all along? Was I the monster all along? There are no Surveil lands in this deck. Just kicking old school. Atraxa discarded. Can I actually beat Atraxa with my deck? Is now the question. It's in play. It hit Force Blue card, as the deck is built to do. That Thoughtseize is annoying. Barrowgoyf might actually be able to race Atraxa. How do I beat Atraxa? I do have 2 Sheoldred's Edicts, 2 Assassin's Trophies, Grist, Brazen Borrower. There's some stuff here. Yep. My Barrowgoyf! Kept Thoughtseize, Polluted Delta, Force Murktide. I'm going to fetch in the end step because I simply don't want to draw lands. I'll get a Bayou, which mills 1. Oh, there goes Grist. My outs are slipping away. Misty Rainforest from the graveyard. Milled over Snuff Out. That one wasn't going to help anyway. Fetch. Drop. Mill 1. Wasteland. Now we're doing something. Wasteland. Waste one of your sewers. I wonder if this will be worth the Force of Will to him. Probably. Alright, cool. We're in. And I'm going to pass. Yeah, that Wasteland showed up 1 turn late. Because it was... Or no, it just Thoughtseize me. Never mind. That Thoughtseize was fine. Using Flooded Strand instead of the Polluted Delta we know about. It's free information, bleeding it out. None of my creatures have reach. I need Barrowgoyf to just gain me life. Bitter Triumph, disappointing. Alright, discarding Polluted Delta. Right, that is deceased. And Murktide puts me in check immediately. And probably still has a blue card in hand to go with that Force. Tamiyo can block. Okay, Wasteland. Mill. Not even really milling for anything. I don't know what I'm even doing right now. Wasteland. Sheoldred's Edict. Alright, well, I've revealed Grist, Assassin's Trophy, and Sheoldred's Edict off the last 3 mills. You love to see it. Alright, Tamiyo on the stack. Yeah, this game's unwinnable. Okay. Alright, the power of Reanimator revealed. I did all the cool things I'm supposed to do and then lost anyway. Veil of Summer, Fairy Macabre, Cling to Dust, 2 Assassin's Trophies. Dress Down is an interesting one. If I could stuff the Atraxa ETB, then the game is pretty cool. Endurance, Keen-Eyed Curator. Snuff Out kills Tamiyo and Murktide. I actively don't like Force of Negation, even though they're kind of a combo deck, because I have all this other stuff I can do about that. I do like Ice Tail Explorer as the end game. Force of Will's pretty important. Wan Shi Tong seems mid, though the blue count in this deck is not the most well supported, and I'm boarding out 3 blue cards already. Outland Liberator doesn't matter. Even though it's the name of the deck, I think I can shave a BoshNRoll cub without missing it. Delighted Halfling casts Leovold, Uro, Grist, Wan Shi Tong. Am I going to loam in this matchup? It's not really a wasteland matchup. I have Ice Explorer if I want to try to wastelock my opponent. I love cutting a big pile of blue and green cards in my deck with Endurance and Force of Will. Okay, Snuff Out. I think Tamiyo and Murktide are enough that I need to respect to leave those in. Though I am bringing in 2 trophies. I'd really like to cut a black card, like one that isn't necessary to support any of the stuff I'm doing. Yeah, I think it is just Snuff Out at the end of this decision chain. All right, here we go. Lots of passive graveyard hate. Fairy Macabre's the only super dedicated one. And I kind of like that, because if opponent pivots off, then it's not even where I want to be. All right, I'll keep this hand. I'm not fetching basics anyway. I'm just going to go Trop Zenith. If this is my list from Eternal Weekend, there's no dazes. And that's something I can bully. Bloodstained Mire, pass. Another force. That means I could hang Wan Shi Tong out here, draw a card, get something going, or I could just shove this Barrogoyf. I kind of want to Wan Shi Tong his ass, just because I think it's fun. Ooh, playing around Wan Shi Tong. Smart. Or something. Or just trying to hit a land drop. 2 fetch lands. Okay, I will be a chicken. All right. Going for it in my upkeep. This saves 1. You could fetch in response, get that one. But I do get one of them. Basic Island. Mystical Dispute. Is that worth a card? Okay, sure. I accept. Basic Swamp. The Fatal Pushes are going to be in here. All right, you got me. Got me real good. Yeah, I might have been excited by the flashy play instead of just the nuts and bolts play Barrogoyf. Just put that card on the stack. Tainted Indulgence. I think I'm just going to let go on that one. Discarded Undercity Sewers. Reanimate my Wan Shi Tong. Okay, I have Brazen Borrower in my hand. Draw for turn. It is a fetch land. You got me, except you didn't. A boing. Remove that from play. Still have a blue card in my hand for force. Brainstorm. My thoughts. All right, I'm probably losing Barrogoyf here, would be my guess. Because that also gives my opponent a really good reanimate target for the rest of the game. An Ice Explorer could be insane value if it's in play for even a second, hitting an extra land drop, but it really depends on opponent's hand. Okay, Ice Explorer, the bigger threat. Ooh, okay. The bigger value engine was actually the conversation we were having. All right, I'll force pitching Wan Shi Tong. Because this Ice Explorer is immediately worth at least 2 cards. It just hits fetch land plus Undercity Sewer out of the graveyard. WBC, you know me. All right, I'm just going to shove out this Barrogoyf. We're in there. Opponent knows I have force, doesn't know that I've drawn a blue card, which I haven't. But Goyf is one of those cards you just got to react to. A Bitter Ordeal, a Brazen Borrower, your own Barrogoyf, a Murktide. Lots of stuff that can be done here. Oh, Bowmaster, sure. That'll fart around for a while. Zenith. Do I have anything that beats Bowmaster on the Zenith? I'm holding Witherbloom Command, which I'm pretty happy about. Yeah, getting a cub here doesn't actually do anything. I'm going to attack first because if Fatal Push is in the hand, I don't want to turn it on before combat. The Orc Army is gone. Jamming off Fatal Push. Yep, that's fine. Witherbloom Command. Target player mills 3. Or do I want to... All right, no, I do want the land back. All right. Yeah, I'll mill 3. Kill Bowmaster. It's fetch lands or Dryad Arbor. I guess I'd like a fetch land. I'm not going to suddenly start fetching basics. It's just not going to be part of the game. Ooh, I milled over the Cling to Dust. Passive value. And I think holding this Zenith to actually do something is better than getting Delighted Halfling now. Ponder. Didn't shuffle. A Reanimate right now is bad news. All right, Thoughtseize. Do you have the Thoughtseize plus Reanimate? Doesn't seem like it. Well, that's good news. Deleted Halfling. I'm not going to play that because Cling to Dust is such an insane weapon here. If opponent targets anything in my graveyard, it basically doesn't matter. All right, because I can exile it. Right, I'm going to respond with Cling to Dust, exiling opponents. It just has to be a spell. Ponder, I guess. Can I use my graveyard? I could Endurance myself. I have Tamiyo. Yeah, I could just exile all of the creatures. So opponent. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Did we? We did it. We fended off Barrowgoyf, and Cling to Dust is still there. Still kicking. Now I can develop D halves and still hold up Cling. Half a D is better than none. Do we have the Cling to Dust hard lock in place? Tainted Indulgence. I'm going to count. We've got 0, 1, 2, 3. Right, good. This is still a loot. That's fine. Discarded Bitter Triumph. Borrower gets cooked by Orcish Bowmaster, but I don't think I can play around that anyway. I'm just going to do the best thing I can do. Yep, here we go. That's fine. I have a 1-2 in play. Delighted Halfling, designed with Orcish Bowmaster in mind. They're from the same set. Another fetch land. I think I'm going to run this out. I could get to the spot where I need to Cling to Dust into a spell. I do wish there was a tech land in here, just a Hedge Maze or something. Mystic Sanctuary. Maybe with the 64 card balance the designer was trying to be careful about sketchy cards. All right, I'm not going to play that one out. Though, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is exactly 2 Clings in a turn. All right, never mind. I will run it out. I can't afford to value Cling because the number of cards I have to escape is not infinite, and my opponent has Orcish Bowmaster in play. And if this becomes a 2-2, then I'm under pressure. Oh, this smells like a Bowmaster. I'm just going to take my 1. Oh, no. Frustrating. All right, I'll take my 2. Or 3 even. All right, now if I ever Cling a non-creature, Halfling just dies. I do have removal in my deck, believe it or not. Do I want to just grab all my basics here? Forest, Island. I'm going to leave 1 fetch land in play. I do have things in my deck that care about that. Wasteland. You're a little late to the party, my friend. I'll still jam it off, though. That turns off Hardcast Force. It turns off lines like Animate Dead with backup Force of Negation. I don't know if opponent has access to lines like that, but they're off. Drawing for turn. I will be guessing that. There is 1 Veil of Summer in my deck that if I were to YOLO emergency brainstorm into, I could survive a Bowmaster squad. I'm at 8. I could play Cling on Barrowgoyf. This just gains 3 life, and what I'm trying to do is buy time. Barrowgoyf is the card I'm worried about in their life. Ooh, okay. That's a good card. Target player mills 3. Well, I'm definitely killing a Bowmaster. Do I want Wasteland back? I could mill my opponent. What am I doing with my graveyard? I boarded out my loam, right? My graveyard is fueling Cling. But I do have Cling. All right, I'm going to mill my opponent, actually, which is really funny against Reanimator, but I think is somehow right. And I get back Wasteland. Waste you. We're making something resembling progress. I milled a Thoughtseize, a Wasteland, and a Fatal Push for my opponent. I do have 1 Uro in my deck. Milling myself to try to hit that is action. That's also a reason not to be too crazy about the Cling to Dust. Tamiyo, yuck. All right, well, that's a real card. Oh, I've got 1 as well. I could have made it uncounterable, but I value the blocker. Bitter Triumph, paying the life. Okay, she's dead. If I brainstorm, she's dead anyway. And my opponent also has a 5/5. I've been slowly bleeding out for a while, but now I'm bleeding out for real. This clue station, even if Tamiyo never flips, is a huge, massive, miserable beating. All right, and a Barrowgoyf. All right, if I can answer Bowmaster, fire off Brainstorm. Oh, okay. What are my hits? What are my hits? Grist is in the deck. Most of them are gone. Keen-Eye Curator is too late, right? Just trying to think if I could manage Barrowgoyf with that, but my opponent literally has 25 cards in the graveyard, so probably not. I don't have something huge like an Atrax I could Zenith for. It's like Leovold and hope for the best. Leovold versus Bowmaster is an exciting game. Like if I Zenith for Leovold, then cast Brainstorm, my opponent gets to put 3 Bowmaster triggers on the stack, then I can decide how many times I want to draw cards and get pinged again. I could also get Grist, kill the Barrowgoyf, and eat shit everywhere else. I don't think I want to do that. Alright, game on. Zenith for 3. Do I want Endurance all of a sudden? That's not big enough to beat Barrowgoyf. And Keen-Eye Curator would beat Barrowgoyf in combat. I should have thought about this more. This is a mana spent that I didn't need to. If I chump Barrowgoyf with Delighted Halfling, then have a 7/7 to clap back with, that's okay. If I fetch him at 3, if I brainstorm at 3, I can only actually draw 2 cards off of Leovold. What do the 2 cards need to be? Barrowgoyf, Veil of Summer. Ooh, Veil of Summer anywhere on the chain does it. All right, I'm getting Leovold. We're making the play. Okay, Brainstorm. Could also just pile his triggers onto the Orc army and not play this game with me. None of these are the cards I wanted. I'm going to put back Land and Force and see where these Bowmaster triggers go. We got a My Brain Hurts in the chat. Yeah, what do you want to do? What game do you want to play? Honestly, I think just making this a 5/5 is pretty clutch. Okay, we're going for it. We're playing the sub game. Okay, I'm going to fetch because I don't want to redraw any of the cards I've seen. I guess I get Bayou to maximize my options here. These are targeting me. I would like to draw this card. Another one. Okay, there are now 4 of these targeting me. I could trophy the Bowmaster and then draw the remaining cards for freezies. There's no more basics to tutor. Okay, I'm going to go to 2, but I am going to draw 3 cards. 3 more cards. I drew Snuff out. LOL. Okay, Wasteland. And I have to chump and then probably die. But I had a good time. I don't think there are any unique card types that I could change the size of Barrowgoyf, and it's lethal anyway. Okay, block, it doesn't matter which one goes where. Tamio's allowed to draw cards again. Reanimate, targeting Orcish Bowmaster. I have it covered! Exiled Bowmaster and other Bowmaster. We actually got there on something. Okay, Reanimate fizzles. Now I just have 10 power plus a Tamio to deal with. Is there anything left to fetch? Underground Sea, Underground Sea, Underground Sea, Undercity Sewers. Yeah, there should be a sewer and a sea left in the deck. The mana is just so good. Oh my god. Alright. Game continues. If I brainstorm into 2 more Assassin's Trophies, you don't have a 3rd Bowmaster. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, cracking a clue. I accept. Trying to come up with Force Blue card. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 mana? Okay. Endurance plus Barrowgoyf gets me mostly stable. I would like to cast Snuff out on this Tamio at some point, but that point is probably not right now. My own big Barrow boy. And I'm not excited about giving them an extra draw to hit and out to Endurance. So why did I do that? Good question. I don't know. Thoughtseize. Targeting me. Alright, Endurance in response. Stripping the Zenith stinks. I guess I could have played around Thoughtseize because I wasn't shuffling my Brainstorm anyway, and now I have to draw Snuff out and deal with it. I was really counting on the Zenith, so that was actually a big mistake. Yeah, I think I'm actually just dead now, because my top card is Snuff out, and I can't survive the 6/6 for 2 hits. Endurance doesn't shuffle your deck. And I guess I'm respecting Murktide here if I target my opponent. That does remove many targets for Cling to Dust. Right, I'm not decking you anyway. Target you. Fuck Murktide Regent. The Barrowgoyf stayed the same size. Yeah, that was bad stacking. Just bad Brainstorm behavior. Oh, okay. Just the Orc coming in. That's actually acceptable. and work my way through Barrowgoyf. Unless opponent reanimates this Barrowgoyf right now, then I'm in bad news, but the Cling to Dust is back online as a useful card. Okay, Snuff Out is in my hand. There is a fetch land on top of my deck. I think I want to Cling to Dust now, exiling Thoughtseize, and I should have all the creatures in the graveyard. All right, target your Thoughtseize. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exile creature, 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 and creature. Barrowgoyf did just get smaller. I can Cling to Dust again. I have no idea if the math checks out, but I'm going to pass the turn. I'm no longer dead to a Barrowgoyf hit. And Cling, if I exile 6 cards from my own graveyard, the 5 to Cling plus I target something, I can definitely get sorceries out of the graveyard. Petty Theft. Oh, there must be a Force of Will over there then. That's the only thing that makes sense. All right, Endurance is back. Yep, Force got me. All right, and I go to 2 from the Barrowgoyf hit. Brainstorm in response to Barrowgoyf, flips Tameo, does it all. Milled Orcish Bowmaster and gets it back right away. Set that one up. All right, and we're back in Dead to Barrowgoyf garbage mode. I do play other removal spells. That's not one of them. Okay, Cling to Dust can do what here? I can get creatures out of graveyards and gain 3 life. Cling, target Tameo. Exile Endurance, Green Sun Zenith, Witherbloom, Witherbloom, and one of the lands. This gains me 3 life and shrinks Goyf. Wasteland you. If I fetched a 4, I could draw another card here before this Bowmaster's online. A Cling to Dust. I don't think I can get a card type out anymore. I can try to make Murktide smaller. Okay. 2-3 Barrowgoyf versus my 4 life points. I just drew Ponder, another card that is bad against Murktide, or the Bowmaster that we know is in the hand. This has been an awesome game. After the garbage fest that was the first 2 matches. A Brainstorm from hand, looking for that land to play the Bowmaster. If he misses here, that's a big opportunity for me to actually do something with Ponder. This doesn't change the size of Barrowgoyf. Boo! I actually am just dead here if he sees the line. Or no, you can't do both. I was going to say if he pings me and also pings Bowmaster with itself, that puts a creature in the graveyard, but that's literally the same ability. Never mind. Oh, okay. Must have a Thoughtseize. Though Ponder does change the size of Barrowgoyf and puts me in check for next turn. If he Thoughtseizes himself, I lose. Because we know there's a creature there. Alright, Barrowgoyf puts me to 1. But the Bowmaster is not on right now. Missed on a creature for the Barrowgoyf mill. Alright, Tameo, what do you want to do? Pick up that Thoughtseize and hit me with it? I think that's a reasonable play. Yep, there it is. Alright, I'm going to lose my Ponder here. But I'm going to draw some banger. I'm going to draw Uro. Oh my god. Hold the phone. I'm at 1 though, so and there's no dead creatures. How do I gain life? Okay, how much can I cast this for? Yeah, being at 1 is a tough beat here. I might be out of ways to gain life. There's Uro. I can't even draw a force blue card because I'm at 1. Okay, draw 1. Draw 2. All right, I'm going to draw 2 cards. Brainstorm. Too many lands. I can't take them off that. Oh, Veil of Summer is in my deck. Brainstorm. I'm looking for Veil of Summer. Showed up a little late. If I had 1 more mana here, I could Wasteland and Assassin's Trophy. Unfortunate. All right, this is how we're going to die to a single Bowmaster ping at the very end. All right, plusing Tameo. There was no life to gain off that Cling to Dust. Tong, even big enough to beat Barrowgoyf. Is this optional? Put a +1 counter and draw a card. If opponent could, if I were at 2, I mean, I'm at 1, so it doesn't matter, but opponent could like play a fetch land, play Bowmaster, and then fetch, and then I have to lose because of Tong. What a battle. Satisfying stuff. Let's go debrief with Andreas about the matches we just played. That was awesome. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here.
All right, guys, we're back with the debrief after a very cool basement battle. We brought 6 sweet decks and had some games of, let's say, varying quality, but still pretty cool.
I don't know how decks.
Okay, good point. A little bit of a double dredge action going on. Yeah, I guess let's try and unpack the first match. So I can start because I feel like the ball was kind of in my court in that matchup of Dredge versus, what would you call that deck? It's like a Killer Bee special in my book, but what do you call it?
Yeah, I got to make this joke on my video already. It's Riddler combo, which is funny because now it's Quantum Riddler, but it used to be Riddler Smith. And the fact that two different cards named Riddler have at different points been the engine card of the combo is just really funny. I was kind of hoping to get all 8 when I was sent the deck list by my patrons, but you take as many riddles as you can get. But yeah, like
absolutely.
Riddler wheel combo, the Killer Bee deck, I suppose is a fair way to call it for people who know the source.
Absolutely. So I was loving life. So I have land, pedal, bunch of draws to get going, no dredger, so I have to hit a dredger on the first, I think it was Otherworldly Gaze. But the key move here was, which land do I fetch? So you were on a mull to 5, so I fetched Basic Island, right? So now this means I'm now resilient to Wasteland, but Wasteland is typically not very good in your mull to 5, which was kind of the logic that I figured out, after casting my first Gaze. And this ends up mattering a lot because I could draw my whole deck, but no mountain for the anger. And I have to pass the turn into a crucial turn where I will say happily, I love that you found the man. It's a lot more fun when you found the pedal, right? So, and then you were off to the races. So I just talked a lot about the fact that Memphis Van Gogh would certainly not have let that game slip, but just how experience and stuff like that can guide you through. So I think that was very, very cool. And how consistent is your deck once you start getting to go off like from 0 mana with an artist's talent in play and stuff like that? Maybe walk it through from your side. How did that game feel?
Yeah, I haven't played a bunch of reps with that deck. That's not since Quantum Riddler replaced Riddler Smith as the Riddler in the deck. It's been maybe years since I played that deck, but
sure.
It certainly felt like as soon as I could do anything, I could do everything. And it's you have to stop me from doing anything because if I'm off, it's over. And we saw the full strength of it kick in eventually, but even just resolving the artist talent and passing the turn felt insanely powerful. Like there was definitely 7, maybe 11 draws in the deck that just pop off immediately. I'd have to look at the list and fully remind myself what all my outs were.
You're talking about basically all zeros at that point, right?
I don't think Opal was on, but I have 4 petals.
But Opal lets you loot, right? Loot the...
Right. It lets me... I only had 2 mana, and it wasn't blue. So
so you needed... Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I had Urza Saga plus red Chrome Mox. So I have to hit a blue source that is also a spell. So it's the 3 remaining LEDs and the 4 petals. There might be some sequences where, like, if I draw one of the other 3 Chrome Moxes, I can get lucky enough to discard the Echo and loot into a different blue card to exile, and then I'm on. Or that's a second look at the LED or petal. So there's some rebuys, but really it was a 7-outer to just go nuts, and I hit one of them.
Yeah, and we love to see that. That's sometimes I frequently talk about. It's like, oh yeah, thank God I pressed record, right? Because those games, and when you do it enough, they're not really unique anymore, but they seem unique when they happen, and that was just very, very cool. And it was just a simple line of, hey, I'll fetch Volcanic Island. This guy will not have the luxury to have Wasteland in his 5, and if he does, I still get to tap it once, and I have my pedal. So I think an experienced stretch player gets that over the line, but this was a lot cooler to see, I must say. That was very, very sweet.
It was good for content.
Yeah, great for content, absolutely. So game 2 was, when I pressed submit, I was like, I've been talking for 30 seconds about this is not a leyline deck because bad reasons. And then I'm like, well, that artist talent card might just be the reason that it is a leyline deck, because that is like a way to get rid of, bad mid-game draws. So I realized that, and you have an action pre-game, and unfortunately, that was a little bit too late for me to do anything about.
Yeah, and this happens to me all the time on camera where I think about 98% of the things I need to think about. I click the button and then my spell's on the stack and I'm like, oh, well, what about
Yeah.
blank? And then blank happens and it sounds like you got there with the volcanic island and with the ley
Yeah.
line, and it just, you thought about almost everything you needed to think about and then got punished by the one thing you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot about realizing it in time, right? Because I frequently talk to players about, oh yeah, and then when you're in the lunch line, you realize what you should have done 20 minutes ago, right? So it's just the latency between digging it out of the toolbox and getting there. So that's the challenge with Magic, having it available real time, right? And then be on top of everything. But yeah, great showcases of that. Unfortunately, not a lot of airtime for that match, but it was some high octane stuff for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, when my Patreon are sickos. They like two things. They like grindy Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath 55-minute match nonsense, and they like zero turn nonsense. And I got 2-in-1 sent to me this time through the voting, and the next match was kind of the same, where it was me dredging, and it was funny.
Oh yeah,
game one, when you cast your otherworldly gaze that you led on, I was like, oh no, we're both aware and fans of Mafouche Van Gogh.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. So I found that very, very funny, where I just have like a generic hand with no force essentially, and I think, let's see, you play first and are you just off to the races with the perfect turn one? Yeah, I think you are. Like
you did not going to turn that
looting game. LED, yes. So I, with therapies, strategically, I have to concede here because I don't have a comeback with my control deck, right? So that informs you in some way, but not, all not all that much, but still something, right? I have a decent sideboard with a couple of graveyard hates, but a million blasts that are alive, and negations, Thoughtseize, stuff like that. And I think you trivially power through Thoughtseize, Force and Negation, and I feel like in a surgical, just no problem at all, because that's basically how the Dredge deck works. Maybe talk a little bit about how that is different than Oops or Reanimator, or because Dredge is a little bit weird.
Yeah, I've been saying for years from the fair blue side, you should counter literally anything that you can. If your opponent puts a counterable spell on the stack and you have a counter for it, use it. There is nothing to be clever about, and there will be a point where it turns and they won't cast any spells anymore, or they won't cast spells that can be conventionally interacted with. So if they just, turn one, Lion's Eye Diamonds on the stack, force, consign to memory, like Spell Pierce, whatever I got, fight over anything. There is nowhere to be clever. Like the turn one, like you force a negation to Cabal Therapy. And I was like, yes, that's the first spell I've cast this game, and he has a force, he should use it. And any little thing that can be done should be done, because their engine is so contrary to Magic the Gathering, which is what control decks are built to play. And once I'm dredging, even if it's a slow dredge, I'm kind of drawing between 2 and 6 cards a turn, even if I can't use them in ways that are conventional, and control decks don't keep up with that.
And this game was even more interesting because I Thoughtseize, I take your 0 mana card, because if you want to play your Cabal Therapy as a discard outlet, you also have to commit a land, which then puts you further away from cleanup. Funnily enough, I was saying, is Brian good enough to just say go here with 7 cards? No, I think this is like too tempting to just play the therapy, right? So, but did you ever consider just saying go there with 7 cards, or like what went through your mind there? Because it was not a trivial play, right?
Well, I drew Breakthrough for turn, which completely changes. If my hand is just 4 lands and 2 dredgers, maybe I'll try to wait it out and do something. But
yes,
once I draw Breakthrough, I would like to get something going.
Absolutely. So I obviously liked that you played the therapy, because that was kind of I talked about it as like a double to triple time walk situation. If I can get you to not do anything. But with that being said, any like looting, no, you didn't have red mana that game, so that's not true. It's basically any Breakthrough or Gaze can get you going. which, I had to kind of take that chance, but then you eventually get there with a Breakthrough. And the point is, you had Cephalid Colosseum as kind of the reason that nothing could resolve, not even LED, because then you can Black Lotus the LED and start, to use your bazaars, for the lack of a better word.
Right.
So just very, very cool, compact strategical stuff, but very, very cool in my opinion. It's kind of unique, and I can see why Memphis wins so many games, because I was for sure not comfortable playing it nor playing against it in this set.
Yeah, and he's a great brewer and a great face of the deck because he's willing to change the deck fundamentally week to week and meta to meta. There are meta games where I'm confident that my deck, where I can lightning bolt my own creature in game 1 to kill all the bridges, I can force of will the Lion's Eye Diamond, and then I get to a spot where like my Triumph of St. Catherine is bigger than the Poxwalkers and we're okay. I can thread needles if I know the entire 60, but if I don't know the 60 and it's not a Bridge from Below build, or it's a build with 4 Poxwalkers instead of 2, or it's a build with 4 Lotus Petal to support the 4 LED,
or
and they're
counters.
faster than
I've
I
even
want.
seen him play Days and
Yes.
Force.
Yeah, the Days and the Force of Will. That was something I checked when in our game 1 when 49 of your cards were already face up. I was like, I'm going to check for forces to see if I need to think about anything here. And no, I don't. We're off. So,
Great point about, like with Oops and Breakfast and stuff, you kind of research Doomsday, kind of research what kind of build are we up against. That's a good one.
Yeah, and it's a great lane that Mafouche specifically is in because he's the only one doing it, and he's doing it very well. And if you even know that there is a person out there crushing with Dredge, you don't know what list that person is on or specifically how to fight it. And it's a cool little spot that he has carved out for himself. And
yeah,
I was saying on the Eternal Glory podcast for months, if Entomb gets banned and graveyard decks have to go to loots, like the Careful Studies and the Faithless Lootings and stuff, and play a critical mass of those, and enough monsters to loot away reliably, why isn't that deck just going to be Dredge at that point? And I mean, Dredge looks really good.
Yeah, Dredge is awesome. And it's also, you kind of need to play Dredge when, Oops is a little bit down. Like, you don't want to get hit by all the splash damage, right? So there's a little bit of that going on where you have to keep track of that, I would imagine, from the Dredge side. I guess for Mathos, it doesn't matter too much, but for, other players to pick it up as a strategy. Then last up, Brian, we had a very cool showdown between, I played the Dimir Reanimator. I thought you would appreciate that one as bringing that to the table, a deck that you know very well. You obviously played it at a couple of Eternal Weekends. I've probably talked about it a lot on your channels and community. I still like that deck a lot. I tweaked it a tiny bit, put in the 3rd Tainted Indulgence and the 4th Bowmasters in the sideboard and 2nd Bitter Triumph in the main. Small changes. And I got to do my thing. Game 1, I highlighted from my side the fact that you countered my Brainstorm there is a play that you need some kind of a knowledge about the deck to make. I can't say I've played against many others who have done it, but that was very heads up. I was lucky to have a 2nd barrel there. So, yeah, maybe talk to me a little bit about this Sultai deck, because it looked like a Highlander deck, aside from 2 Cubs in Game 1.
Yeah, that was a 64-card Sultai Green Sun Zenith toolbox deck. And it comes from a player from my Patreon who brews, has fun playing Magic, but generally does think about things and do things with intention. So when I was sent a 64-card deck from him, I was like, all right, I'll trust you, even though I'm suspicious. But yeah, it was just a mild Zenith package. There's only 3 Zeniths. It's not even maxing out on that. And it just has a bunch of cool green creatures and then all of the blue and black spells I like playing. And
yeah,
it's just a pile of good cards.
I was like, how does this guy fits all of these cards? Like Baragoyf in your Zenith package, trying to support Force of Will. And that was a lot of like old school favorites coupled with some new stuff and some toolbox stuff. I feel like those games were very cool, especially the second one. I mean, come on, turn 20 showdown where you're fighting for your life, trying to manage graveyards with the Cling under Bowmasters most of the time. Baragorf breathing down your neck. Like, talk to me about like you're playing that game to prolong it. Did you have let's say, did you know what was at the end of that rainbow, or were you just fighting? Or like, talk to me about that, because you were on the heels.
Yeah, it was first. I just want to note in game one, like you put an Atraxa into play, I didn't answer it. Pretty standard stuff. But I had Ice Steel Explorer in play, and the 3 turns Atraxa was in play, I drew for turn a blank, played a land, milled, grist. And then the next turn, I drew a blank, played a land, milled Assassin's Trophy. And then the next turn, I milled some other. I milled Shoulder's Edict. Yeah, I milled 3 answers to Atraxa in a row after drawing 3 blanks in a row. And if I just like, it's one of those games where this is not really useful Magic theory. It's just kind of like a mystical thought where if I could see the future, if I were an omniscient being, I would simply not have played a land, and then I would have drawn 3 removal spells in a row and easily won that game. Instead of, like, I draw the removal spell, mill the land, draw the removal spell, mill the land. But, you know, obviously that's nonsense, but it is just funny that, you know, life has that sense of humor. But yeah, game 2, it was like, at some point, I'm looking at the number of cards in your deck. I'm thinking about what threats you even play. Like, there's some critical mass where your deck can't win anymore. And when I eventually drew that Endurance, I had to think really hard whether, like, getting ahead of your Murktide Regents was worth refilling your entire deck that I've worked so hard to take apart. And it was, you know, for a long time, it was just like that Barrogoyf was just sitting in play. And if I answer that, we're back to stability. My life's low, but I think my deck plays from that spot maybe better than yours. Like, I have big hits like Uro and Green Sun Zenith or Zenith 4 Uro that can unlock that. And that game was pretty close, pretty competitive for a very long time. A lot longer than it felt like it should have. And, you know, good job adding the 4th Bowmaster, because you needed 5 or 6 of them to win that game. And it was exactly Bowmaster at the end that got it done.
Yeah, it was so cool with the Cling to Dust that the draw mode on that card was kind of shut down by Bowmasters, but then you could start managing my graveyard. Like, so I had a reanimated rotation from an early kind of bad brainstorm, but you basically never let, I think I end up reanimating a Bowmasters, but you end up getting rid of like Barrogoyf, while bolstering your life total and prolonging the game. It was a really, like, it was probably more on the edge than I gave it credit for at the time, because the way you're talking about it now, it seems like, yeah, if you deal with that Barrogoyf and do anything proactively, I'm actually a little bit in trouble here, especially with how my deck is set up with, like, fair versus fair, you have the edge. My edge is that you could be overestimating my reanimation ability. You know, old school reanimator logic here of 80% tempo, whatever we want to call it, post sideboard. So that was a very, very sweet game, and you managed the size of the Barrogoyf really nicely. I think in the end I had a turn where I found a ponder, and then what to do to build the Barrogoyf bigger. I couldn't find the Bredo Lion, then get you to 1, and then have the Bowmasters left over. And then I think on the last turn, we're down to a Daze Bluff, I think. Like, you wasteland me, and we're down to whether...
Oh, yeah, I'm just dead there, and... I'm gonna let you play your Bowmaster and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and funnily enough, I had a fatal push. So I had another play, which was like kill a blocker, attack with force the chump block, keep playing the game, trying to beat the imaginary Daze. But I was like, this is a double Bayou. You had double Bayou Forest in play. This is not a Daze deck. So I connected the dots and went for it here. I think that was just somewhat of a useful example of let's not play around ghosts when we play Magic. It's good to have awareness, but let's not play around ghosts, right?
Right.
Yeah, I loved it. I got my ass handed to me the first couple of matches, and then the last one, the big showdown, that's when I got on through the board. So I'm happy with today's run out. How did you like my let's say the competitiveness of the decks? I have heard a little bit of whispers about those being uneven at times, according to some people. For me, it's not a problem. I think it's cool in both directions to be, you know, David Goliath. How did you like it today?
Yeah, I thought it was appropriate. Obviously, we agreed on Dredge fitting the brief because we both selected it. And then I did feel mildly disrespected by selecting my Eternal Weekend deck as an off-meta challenge showcase like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong, but you don't have to say it, you know. But Yeah, no,
I thought it was,
I think
it was funny,
right.
right? Because only crazy guys think that deck is viable, and we are two of those crazy guys. So there's still a bit of a narrative going on there that I couldn't pass up.
Right, yeah, and I like that this one ended up. We've said a lot about Mafouche Van Gogh and the great work he's doing, and although Dredge is not a top meta deck, there is an excellent pilot doing excellent work with it. The same is true about James Casal with that Grixis deck, and if there's one mad genius out there who keeps winning with a deck that no one else can buy a win with, then there's something happening there. And we featured also the Reanimator deck that you and I like, James Casal's Grixis deck, Mafouche Van Gogh's Dredge deck. That was 4 of the 6 decks showcased were from specialists who worked really hard to figure it out. And although it's off meta, it doesn't mean it's bad. And that's a good lesson.
That's a good. Yeah, I like that a lot, highlighting that it's only as stale as you make it out to be. It's just a taller mountain to climb. So just get to work if you feel strongly about a certain archetype and make the most of it. That's for sure my message as well. I echo that sentiment.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. Anything else to say, or can we get out of here?
No, I think we did a good job clowning enough, and then doing a recap afterwards. I think I'm happy for today. So thanks so much for your time, Brian.
Yep. All right. And that's been the basement challenge for January 2026, new meta, new year. If you watched on my side, go check out Andreas, his side of the matches. If you watched over there, come check out BoshNRoll, and we'll see you for the next one.